So I'm not feeling very happy or well or anything. Um I just want to know when people are going to start talking. And if you think the screen is frozen, if you think me asking for this is me talking to people on YouTube, asking for people on YouTube to talk to me, then you don't know what I'm feeling, because that's not what I'm thinking. I've got an Illuminati group of people, huge number of people who are, I think, very rich and controlling celebrities and controlling everything, about like giving mansions to people because of deals that they're doing. I've got huge number of people helping the singers and celebrities, but I've got no one helping me. And I want the people who are helping the singers and celebrities to help me. But I don't want to work. I think I should accept that this world does not want me, never has, never, doesn't want real God, it doesn't want a real God, it doesn't want me. And I'm okay with that. And I want the people who know about me and who know what's going on, who know that I've inspiring stuff and yet been getting paid nothing. Um, I just want them to give me some kind of payment, a nice house, and then I want to have nothing to do with the world. How I picture it, I think I can imagine. Um, I can imagine like doing some sort of interview where on you come and get me first, and then you give me a luxury holiday or just something that I wouldn't. I could technically just pay for my own cruise. I have a few thousand in the bank. I could do that, but a part of me is wondering if I'm going to be ignored for the rest of my life. And well, if I'm being ignored for the rest of my life, then I'm going to have to go back to doing massage. As soon as my money has gone down to about 20,000, I'll probably start doing massage again, because I'm very good at living off nothing. I'm very good at living off a couple like 5,000-6,000 pounds a year. I can continue this way for quite a few years before I need to go back to massage. But just the thought of having to do this for another few more years just sounds awful. People do not want God. They do not want me. I can see, people announcing that Christ has returned, and then on July 1st, me having some sort of small interview where I say, yes, I'm God. I'm the real God. I'm the one who's controlling the timeline. But I'm also going to admit that, I'm not the Christian God. I'm not the Christian telling of God. Christians cannot feel me or hear me, or they don't know anything about me. They're people that just, have been given an old book and are believing everything in it. So I'm not their God. I'm not the God of Islam. That's very, very different to whatever you're worshipping in. That is very, very different to me. Nothing like me. I'm not the Jewish God. I don't believe in the Torah or anything like this. And so, yeah, I'm going to say that I am God. I'm the only God Earth will ever get. But because no one on this planet has been worshipping me or has been believing in me or knows anything about me other than Christ can, other than slight couple of things in Christianity that are about me. um you know the world has not been worshipping me, so I have no desire to want to talk to them. And then I'll just hide. I'll let that settle, just give a couple of interviews, let that settle, see how the world reacts. I feel like it should be a test on my hair looks absolutely a mess. Straightened it the other day and it looked really nice, and now it looks really thick and horrible. Um, but yeah, I think it should be more of a test to see how people respond. You know, how long it takes for people to take an interest in me. But yeah, I would have thought the Big Brother idea would be good, but at the same time, I think I hate Big Brother show. I really hate that show now. They really piss me off. But maybe it shouldn't be that way. Maybe there should be a gradual build up. Tell people that Christ is here, and then set a date for when you're going to expose this person's face. I expose my face, but don't say much. I make it clear that I am the only God of this world, but no one worships me. No one knows really anything about me. And a lot of people don't want to know. And then just see who actually wants to know. See what kind of things people are posting. Are they saying that this is the Antichrist? Are they all? They're probably going. A lot of Christians that are nasty are probably going to start calling me Babylon straight away. But yeah, I want that to be that to be a time. I want there to be a time of people on the internet calling me Babylon the Great, saying that I'm the great whore or whatever, um, getting excited about prophecies being fulfilled, and this is a sign that Jesus is going to return. I want there to be a slow build up, because you know how similar people are to me by what they say, and how many people support their beliefs. And I would have said a game show would be a good idea, but at the same time, I don't feel like you want me. For 10 years, I wanted to get onto Big Brother and you never put me on it. So obviously, you don't want me on Big Brother. So I feel like I don't want it to be me begging you to put me on a show like that. It needs to be the world begging me to be on a show like that, or a world begging people who have the abilities to arrest me and literally put me on there against my choice. I feel like it should be that, but it should only happen if the world really wants it. And so I think you need to take things in stages. First, say that Christ is here. See how people react. Are they going to think, "Wow, this is the Antichrist"? We're going to see the Antichrist face, and then you reveal that I'm a woman, I'm female. See how they respond. See how much people are interested in me. See what they want to happen. Do they actually want, like, if I'm saying that I'm God, I'm the real God. Yes, I'm Babylon, but I'm also a lot of things. I'm Christ and God and devil, and just I'm a lot of things. A lot of the characters in the Bible represent me. On August the 14th, that was when I first found out that I was a cave woman. So maybe that's when I should reveal. I would say do interviews like as soon as I'm revealed, but the problem is a large portion of my interview will be partly to believe that I was here before I died and I came back again. So to have a conversation with people without bringing up the fact that I think I was Darla and that humans have come from my bloodline, without bringing that up, I think it would be quite hard to have a conversation with people. So I think it might be a better idea to not have conversations with people, but rather just build up their interest in wanting to get to know me, but have me sort of not do anything, almost like give a time to allow Christians to want to have a conversation with me. You're not the Antichrist. We want to prove it. We're going to have interviews, and then do lots of interviews, but don't go public about all of them. Just do the interviews first. I think if they went out, if all these interviews started going public, other people who want to do interviews would also would come and do the interviews, but they would listen. They would first watch the interviews of other people, and then they might change their mind about wanting to have an interview with me. If you want to have an interview with me for the sole reason of proving that I'm not Christ, if you start listening to all my other videos that or interviews I'm having with people, you would probably realize quite quickly that I'm actually being debunked, or the people I'm having interviews with are saying things in intent to prove me that I'm not God, when really what they're saying actually proves that I am God. They'll be saying things that they don't understand themselves, but when I explain what they're saying and showing how, to think that I can't be God because I'm not because I'm full of sin. I mean, do you even know me? Do you know anything about me? I mean, don't you think you're being sinful by judging me when you don't actually know anything about my life? If I started saying things like this, then other Christians who want to have ridiculous conversations with me about why I'm not Christ, they might be watching this and thinking, you know what, she's just going to be saying the same things to me, and I don't want this. So maybe I should do some interviews, but not actually go public with them, just because the interviews would actually be about shaming people. Oh my God, my hair looks so awful. The interviews would be more about shaming people and making them look stupid and foolish, and no Christian is going to want to have an interview with me if that's what they think is going to happen to them, especially not if they're rich or if they're like Kenneth Copeland or whatever. um, so doing interviews without expressing, without like going public about them, and then you could build up like a group of people that will find out if people want me on some sort of TV show. I don't know, you could say whatever you want. I know I got, after when I found out that I was God, and I was seeking help, and I noticed people started doing things about me behind my back. I went to a crisis center, and told people, and I ended up in a mental hospital because they didn't believe me. They weren't willing to listen. I showed the report of all the name connections that I had, and they wouldn't even take a look at the piece of paper. They just thought, she thinks she's God, she's suicidal, let's lock her up. That's all they thought. They had no interest in wanting to know anything that I was saying, or the fact that people were generally doing things about me behind my back. They had no interest in that whatsoever. But maybe that was the last week of September. probably actually the 14th of September for 10 days. I don't know, it was somewhere around that time, or maybe it was the 20th of September. I don't know. It was somewhere in the last week. I think it came out at the beginning of October. But maybe you should sort of arrest me and put me just in a safe house or something, and then ask the public what do they want. We've got this person who believes that she's Christ. We've got a huge number of people believing. With all the singers and celebrities are going to come forth and say, yeah, we think she's Christ. And then you just ask the public what they think. If I'm put onto some sort of game show because it's their choice, I think it would be better than if it's seen to be my choice. But yeah, I don't know. I really hate the world. I'm God, but I didn't make the number of people here the number that it is. I feel like people have just rejected me and rejected me, and then they just had more and more babies, more and more. The population just risen and risen, and everyone's getting confused because you look at yourself and you look at people in poverty, and you think you're the same. You think that could have been me, and you don't realize that actually smarter humans are getting smarter, and you're having more and more lives, and you're connecting more to emotions, you're connecting more to feelings. Living in a shitty house with no kitchen, no toilet, living in a shed would seem awful to people that are evolved and developed, but I think to the poorer people, living in a shed isn't so bad, because in their past lives they were a goat tied to a pole. If you've gone from being a goat tied to a pole to a human living in a tent, your soul is actually like, yay, I'm so glad that I'm not tied to a pole any longer. So you have a different sense of what's good, and what you should be excited over and stuff. But just because you are finally human, that doesn't mean that it's right. Because if you're tying other goats and stuff to poles, or to small places, like, I know some of the videos are so poor they can't even afford meat, but um, yeah, there's a huge amount of meat living in really terrible conditions, and they're doing this because the farmers are just trying to make money, and everyone's trying to help the people, and they're not thinking about the animals. They're and it's I don't know, this world is really, really awful, and I kind of I want to think about myself, though. I can't keep thinking about others. I have to think about myself, and I've always had a shit life, and I don't want this life, and I didn't want this life, and I didn't ask for this life, and it's not a life I wanted. Um, and I feel like, how long is this going to go on for? Are people literally just going to ignore me for the rest of my life?